Hey guys, how are y'all doing? I'm okay. I'm just going to continue working on First Samuel. Bear is hanging out with us right here. I don't know why he's facing that direction, but at least he's not, you know, standing up or something facing that direction. I'll put it that way. Cats are crazy. So are their owners often. But all right, let's see here. Yeah, so tomorrow I return to work, and so I need to get this done as much as I can because seminary. All right, so let me bring up my document. I did wake up last night and do a little bit of work. um Let me share my screen. Okay, y'all should be seeing my screen now. All right, so this is essentially what we've been doing in this procedure. uh Reminder of procedure: list of pericopes. A pericope is a unit of thought, usually treated like a paragraph. By scriptural range, it create descriptive summaries for each. Okay. Summarize pericopes by chapter by looking at action words and repeated concepts. So you're bringing it down to a chapter summary at that point. And then lump chapter divisions into larger units with the goal of dividing into major and minor divisions. Okay. So I have that done. And so, all right, the sound's working. I have that done, but what I got to do is I got to do some summaries. So if we look here, I like to color things just to help me see that they're on the same level. And then I'll change the colors later on back to white. Okay, so this is telling me I need to create a summary for chapters 1, 2, and 3 that is going to go at this level right here. I just called a unit division right now. I haven't made an outline or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this out loud and try to pick up on repeated words and action words to try to summarize it into a chapter summary. An Israelite priest named Elkanah had 2 wives competing. Hannah was provoked and barren. She made a vow to the Lord and then was misunderstood by Eli the priest. Yet she believed the Lord would hear her, and she gave birth to a son that she gave back to the Lord's service in the temple after he was weaned. Okay. 1 Samuel 2, Hannah's prayerful ode highlights divine reversal, while Eli's corrupt sons contrast with Samuel's faithful ministry in the temple. Judgment is announced on Eli's house, and the expectation of a faithful priest emerges. 1 Samuel 3. During the time when the word of the Lord was rare, Samuel was called and delivered judgment against Eli's household. He was recognized by all Israel as a prophet who received revelation. Okay, so, it's kind of interesting. The book starts with Hannah praying for a son who she gives to the Lord's service. And becomes a new hope for Israel as Eli's priesthood and family is judged. Okay. Israel priesthood and family is judged. That kind of ties a lot of things in. The judgment idea, her prayer. It starts with Hannah praying for a son. That God grants, and who she gives to the Lord's service, and becomes a new hope for Israel as Eli's priesthood and family is judged. Now, that's an awkward sentence. I'm not worried about sentences, right? We can fix that later. Flow, we can fix that later. All right, so I'm happy with that. So we'll use blue for now. Okay. Now this one part about the prophet, he also was a prophet, recognized, or let's just say he was also a prophet. Samuel was also a prophet. Okay. All right, so now we go to here, and we're going to color these so that we can see our unit division here. Because the next major division is going to be 1 through 7. All right, so that's going to be, we're going to have to, well, this is actually, let's see if I'm getting this right. This is 1 Samuel, unit division 4. And then this is 5 through 7 as another division. Okay. All right. 6 through 7. So basically, we're doing 4 as one unit. Then 5 through 7 is another unit. So let's go ahead and do a summary for 5 through 7. All right. Let's read 4 so we get some flow here. Israel assumed God was backing them. The ark was misused, and they were defeated by the Philistines. Eli died upon hearing the news, and the glory departed as Eli's house came to an end. It almost sounds like 4 could actually go with this prior link here, because it's still talking about Eli's household. So let's do that. Let's take this and put this here. And then, all right, Samuel was also a prophet. Israel assumed they were on good terms with God, but were defeated by the Philistines. All right. Samuel. All right. So Israel assumed they were on good terms with God, but were defeated by the Philistines. And news of this brought death to Eli and even his son's wife. What do you call her? Mother-in-law? Not mother-in-law. Death to Eli and his sister-in-law. sister-in-law, daughter-in-law. I always get those confused. It's, let me think. Yeah, daughter-in-law. And his death to Eli and his daughter-in-law's child. Okay. So we got the Philistines mentioned again. So I don't think I need that division right there. My phone is making noise. I don't know where it is. Maybe my cat said, oh, here it is. Okay. First Samuel 5. Though Israel was defeated, God distinguished himself from the Philistine gods by judging their cities and showing he was not aligned with the Philistines. Okay. First Samuel 6. The Philistines returned the ark under judgment, and this demonstrates that God holiness has not changed, even though Israel was not faithful. 1 Samuel 7. After 20 years, Israel lamented and repented. They listened to Samuel, seeked him instead of the ark, and the Lord defeated the Philistines and established Samuel as judge. Okay, so after defeat by the Philistines, they took the Ark of the Covenant but God brought judgment upon them so that they did not mistake God's discipline of Israel for his approval of them. After 20 years, the Israelites lamented before repentance occurred, and Samuel was listened to as prophet. Okay. As prophet and judge. And by judge, we mean leader. All right. So that's 5 and 7. That's 1 and 3. Okay. So I got another division here, 8 through 10, which has a minor division of 9 and 10. So I think I'll work on this lower level. You work from the, you do lower hanging fruit first, basically. Okay. 1 Samuel 9. Saul, a Benjamite, was introduced through his father's problem. He providentially encountered a faithful prophet and appeared humble and hopeful. Saul was anointed in private, and God gave him confirming signs, including causing him to prophesy. Then he's publicly chosen, even though he was opposed by some, and yet remained composed. All right. So Saul is providentially introduced to the prophet, which will lead to him being anointed as king. Even though he has anointed as king, he has some opposition, but if not for the warnings of Samuel, framing this, Saul looks hopeful, looks like a hope, Saul looks like there is hope for him. It's probably something like, it looks like there's hope for Saul, but we'll fix that later. Okay. So that's 9 and 10. So we still got this 8 is 1 unit as well. Okay. Israel rejected God's rule by demanding the king for wrong reasons. Samuel warned him that a king would be like, and he interpreted Israel's history as persistent idolatry. All right. Israel rejects God's rule and asks for a king for the wrong reasons and will experience the aftermath. This is in harmony with the nation's track record of idolatry. Okay. So 1 through 10. But at first things look hopeful. From Israel's standpoint. I don't want to say that because, how would I say this? If not for Samuel's warnings, things look hopeful for Saul. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay. Unit, all right, so next unit division, 11 through 13. So let's go ahead and make this red so that we can see that's what we're summarizing. Hey, howdy. So Saul acted as spirit-led shepherd by rescuing Jabesh Gilead and showing mercy, and his kingship was confirmed. Samuel placed Israel's history and covenant context to warn the people, and he clarified the relationship that would exist between obedience to king and the Lord. 1 Samuel 13, under Palestinian attack, Saul feared losing power, so he pursued priestly authority. This exposed Israel's weakness, and the conflict continued. Okay? While things started well with Saul, Samuel continued to frame things around covenant violation in Israel's history. Saul assumes authority that he shouldn't have out of fear. Israel remained in conflict. All right. Okay. Unit division Samuel 14 looks like it's by itself. We'll look at that in a minute. Next major division 15 through 24. Subdivision 15 through 17. So let's okay, 15, 1 through 17. Saul disobeyed God by keeping the spoils of war instead of wiping out the Amalekites. Samuel told him that God had rejected him as king, and the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king. David was anointed at the same time the spirit departed Saul. A distressing spirit now was upon Saul. This led to David being introduced as a musician and an arm bearer as another transition begins in the narrative. 1 Samuel 17, David was underestimated, but he's winning the battle with Goliath because it was about God. He defeated Goliath, exposed Saul's inferiority complex. Saul's disobedience disqualifies him from being king, and God has already providentially moved David into the picture. Leading to in a picture where he gains a following. All right. Okay, 18 through 24, another subdivision unit. I guess I'll have to do that one. That's going to be a little bit more challenging. Lots there. Let's see if I can get it fit on the screen so I can see it all at once. 1 Samuel 18. David increased in favor, and Jonathan covenanted with him, while the praise of women triggered Saul's jealousy, and Saul began to try to kill David. Okay. Saul repeatedly tried to kill David, even when his own family sided against Saul. Plus, he was humiliated when he couldn't resist laying naked among the prophets. 1 Samuel 2, Jonathan reassured David and aligned himself with him. Saul's household continues to move against Saul. Yeah. David increasing in favor and Saul's household moving against him. David ate the showbread, took Goliath's sword, and played a madman, escaped, so David on the run. David gathered the outcasts and received prophetic direction. Meanwhile, Saul was killing priests, but David protected Abiathar. David inquired of the Lord before his battle moves. He said, Kilian and escaped Saul. He grew in strength and covenant with Jonathan was strengthened. 1 Samuel 24. David spared Saul's life, yet engaged in psychological warfare. Saul acknowledged that David would be king. Okay. So as David increased in favor, Saul sought to repeatedly kill him. However, his own household sided with David, even though and sided with David and helped him escape, gather forces while on the run. He let Saul, he resisted the urge to kill the Lord's, or just say to kill Saul, to kill, well, yeah, we'll just say Saul. We know he's the Lord's anointed. All right. He resisted the urge to kill Saul. He resisted the urge to kill Saul. Saul acknowledges that David will be king one day. Hi, pneumomo. Oh my goodness, what is that word? Pneumonotrimethoscopic or pneumo. Okay, pneumo. Oh man, something about small micro spirit. I don't know. Well, hello. Are you a Christian? All right, let's see here. All right. And then we got 25 to 31. I'm going to put these all on one page so I can see them together. All right. So we'll make these red. We'll read them. After Samuel's death, David was kept from killing Nabal by Abigail, whom he married, even though he lost Saul's daughter as wife. David again spares Saul instead of taking the kingdom before the time, and Saul once again said David will be king. David lived among the Philistines and became a mercenary of sorts. Samuel was dead, and Saul sought guidance from the witch of Endor, despite knowing he was rejected. David was sent back from the Philistine battle. David suffered setbacks, yet he strengthened himself in the Lord, and after inquiring of God, he achieved victory, showing mercy and shared spoils. 1 Samuel 31, Saul's legacy dies out. Okay. After Samuel's death, David acts wisely. Avoids more attempts on his life by Saul, and he even lives like a mercenary. Of sorts. Let's see here. Saul desperately goes to the witch of Endor to get advice from Samuel, but even though he was rejected, as king, David has some setbacks, but he strengthens himself in the Lord, and Saul, along with his legacy, dies on the battlefield. Okay. So 25, 1 through 31. Now I need to back up and see 18 to 24. So these look like they're on the same level. 15 to 17, let's check that one. Now that's a sub point of 15 through 24. So we still got to do a summary of 15 through 24. 11 through 13, that looks like it may be a higher up level. 1 through 7, we still got to do a summary of that. Let's start down here with the lower level. Okay. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. All right, 15 through 24. That's our next major division that we need to summarize. So we got 15, 17 here. And then we need to take up to 24. So we're going to be summarizing these two things here. Okay. Well, the easiest way for me to do this is copy it, paste it, and then erase the red so that I'm only looking at the blue. Okay. Major division. So this is the big section, 15 to 24. Saul's disobedience disqualifies him from being king, and God has already providentially moved David into the picture where he gains a following. As David increases in favor, Saul sought to repeatedly kill him. However, Saul sided with David and helped him escape, gather forces while on the run. He resisted the urge to kill Saul. Saul acknowledged that David will be king one day. Okay, so this is the fall of Saul's legacy and the rise. All right, the fall of Saul's legacy. Yeah, let's just call it that. That's real simple. I probably don't need to do anything different there. We'll make it green for now. All right. So now we got to do 15 through 24. Isn't that what I just did? Yeah. So what I just did was I copied the wrong part. So let me fix that. $15 through 24. I need to add David. The fall of Saul's legacy as David gains more following. Okay, so let me see if I got that right. 15 through 17. Uh-oh, I just deleted something. Oh, crap. What did I do wrong? 15 through 17. Okay, I'm going to have to put this in outline because I'm getting confused. So what we'll do is we'll do Roman numeral 1. Oh, that's way too big of a space. I hate those automatic things. I'll just do it like that. Major division. Okay, that's better. So this is a unit division. So that will go here. And I'm gonna fix these. These should be a big A. It's not a big A right now, but I'll fix that in a minute. First Samuel 3. First Samuel 4. All right, so 1 through 3, but what about 4 through 21? It doesn't mention 4, so this needs to extend to 4. So this needs to go to 1 through 4. Okay. And then this would be 5 through 7. All right, so let's see here. 1 through 7. So this is going to have to be a major division. Potentially a major division. So we got 1 Samuel 8 here. You got a 9:1 through 10 here. All right, so that was to 10:27. Well, what about 11? 8 through 11. Okay, 10:27. All right, so this is on the same level. So 14. I just need to color it. Is 14 under there? No, it's separate. So it's actually going to be 1 over. Now we got major division 15. Well, what was this major division? That major division only went to 10. Okay, well, if it meant to 10, then this has to be another division. That's 3. Okay. All right, so now and it's still 18 to 24, so that's another division. Okay, and then 24. But all of this is 24. So this is going to be a major division, at least the way it stands. I probably could have lumped some of these chapter divisions together, but I got kind of lazy. All right, so now let's take it and put it in more real size. So we got 4 pages is what we're looking at right now. Order into outline. So this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I normally will make this narrow margin, so let's go ahead and do that when I'm doing outlines like this. Okay. And you normally want single space between each. Single. Okay. So we still need to make a summary of major division 1 to 1 to 7. And so what I need to do now is I'm going to copy this. Yeah, guys, so now you're seeing how I kind of do my stuff sometimes, like how Eminem writes his raps, like a jigsaw. Okay. Fall of Saul's legacy. The Fall of Saul's legacy and David gains following, I think. We'll fix that. Okay, let's erase these. Oh, that single spacing is messing with me. I don't like it. I'm gonna go back to double spacing here. Oh wait, this 1.5 usually is nice. Let's try that. Okay. So this allows me to look at what I have. So I'm gonna make all this white again. All right, and then we'll color these right here because I got to summarize 1 through 4 and 5 through 7. That's what I'm working on right now. The book starts with Hannah praying for a son that God grants, and who she gives to the Lord's service and becomes a new hope for Israel as Eli's priesthood and family is judged. Samuel was also a prophet. Israel assumed they were on good terms with God, but were defeated by the Philistines, and news of this brought death to Eli and his daughter and child. All right, so this is the rise. This is the fall of the legacy of Eli with the rise of Samuel's legacy. I think that works good. We'll make that green. Okay. And then the next one, this is already at a major level, 1 through 7, 7 through 10. So we'll make this one green. Then we got 9, 10 through 7 separated. So 10 was by itself, and somehow it got integrated into here. All right, so the easiest thing for me to do is to just combine these. Well, no, I don't want to do that because... So I'm going to have to make a unit division here, chapter 8. I'm going to have to make that one stand on its own. Okay, unit division 11 through 13. So now we got 11 through 13, 8 through 20, and 1 through 7. And then we got 15, 1 through 24. Make sure I got all these as divisions. Unit division. Okay. And then this would be the final one. So I think what I'll do now is I'll copy this, and then delete this one. All right, and then remove these. I'll remove that, and I'll remove this. So we got our major divisions. Major divisions 1 through 7, 11, 1 through 13, 15 through 24, 25 through 31. Let's read that and let's see how it flows. The fall of the legacy of Eli with the rise of Samuel's legacy. Okay. Israel rejects God's rule and asks for a king for the wrong reasons and will experience the aftermath. This is in harmony with the nation's track record of idolatry, if not for Samuel's warning thing for looks for hope for Israel. Okay. While things started off well with Saul, Samuel continued to frame things around covenant violation in Israel's history. Saul assumed authority that he shouldn't have out of fear. Israel remains in conflict. And then the fall of Saul's legacy and David gains following. Let's do that. David gains following. After Samuel's death. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to put this to the side. so I can have it on one side of my screen, and I want to bring the text up again. So let me crank up Logos. Where'd it go? So all we're going to do is we're going to read the first and the last sentence of each one of these units and see if it's tracking. 1 Samuel. All right. So now there was a certain man from. All right. So now we got the introduction of Elkanah, but the focus is on his wife. Okay, but he's a priest. I think that's the issue. And then so the next section is 7:17. Then his return was to Ramah, for his house was there, and there he judged Israel and built there an altar to the Lord. Okay, so that is about Samuel judging Israel. Then the next section, 8:1, let's see how it starts. And it came about when Samuel was old that he appointed his sons judges over Israel. Okay, so history's repeating. And then 10, let's look at 10. 10:27. But certain worthless men said, "How can this one deliver us?" And they despised him and did not bring any present, but kept silent. So this is where Samuel is having his last word, and they reckon that he's announcing Saul as king. Okay. So here, 8 was what? 8:1. Okay. So the despising of Samuel. All right. The fall of the legacy of Eli with the rise of Samuel's legacy. That could be that one. And I could even subtitle this one, "The Waning of Samuel's Influence as Saul Rises." Okay, I can do that. That works. Because I'm just trying to catch big movements. Okay, so let's look at 11:1. Now Nahash the Amorite came up and besieged Jabesh Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said to Nahash, "Make a covenant with us, we serve you." And this is where Saul intervenes. Okay, so Saul intervening here. 13:23. So I'll read it 22. So it came down the day of battle that neither sword nor spear was found in the hands of any of the people who were with Saul and Jonathan, but they were found with Saul and his son Jonathan. All right. So that they're fighting in battle. Samuel said to Saul, okay, so this is where Saul gets rejected as king. So I got, while things started well with Saul, All right, so the we got to go back to verse 11. I mean, chapter 11. Okay. The beginning of the fall of Saul's legacy. Let's just do that. All right. And then the next major division is 15 through 24. So let's go to 15. Then Samuel said to Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint you as king over Israel. Now therefore listen to the words of the Lord. So Saul was disobedient. All right, so I got to get some clarification on something in a minute. All right. So Saul didn't destroy that. Didn't destroy them. And so 11, 1, 13 to 23 of the beginning of fall, Saul's legacy, 15 to 24. Samuel rebukes Saul. Okay, and then 24. Let's see what's going on in 24. David is in the wilderness. David's conscience bothering him. Okay, so that's whenever David could have moved on him. 15, 30. The fall of Saul's legacy and David gains following. Okay. I'm just going to have to make do with what I got here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to copy it one more time. And I'm going to say, all right, so the book of Samuel is about the fall of the legacy. Oh, I wouldn't want to say about. I'm going to say this. The book of Samuel begins with the means of bringing about the fall of Eli's Eli's legacy with the rise of Samuel's legacy. Okay. So we put that in one here. So 1, 1 to 1, 7, 17. Erase it. All right. Later, Samuel's influence begins to wane as Saul's influence rises. As Saul's influence later, Samuel's influence begins to wane. Instead of using the word legacy, I like the word legacy, but I'm just wondering maybe if I just use influence. The book of Samuel begins with the means of bringing about the fall of Eli's influence. No. Well, let's do that. Influence. With the rise of Samuel's influence. I think legacy sounds better, but let's just try this. Later, Samuel's influence began to wane as Saul's influence rose. Okay, so this would be 8, 1, 10, 27, period. So, Saul's influence began to fall. There's a better word than fall, but for now, let's just do this. Began to fall. Saul's influence begins to fall. Let's just say that. Begins to fall. To wane. Let's use that, wane. Saul's influence begins to wane. 11, 1, 13, 23. All right. Saul's influence begins to wane as David begins, or as David gains a following. As David gains it, let's just use the word influence. (15) 1 through 24, 22. And I could have used the word power instead of influence, but I think influence is power. And then after Samuel's death, David continues to gain influence as Saul's influence comes to an end. All right, 25, 1, 31 through 13. Now, I like that in some ways, but it doesn't bring out the thrust of what the book is really about. How Israel is in covenant violation because of their idolatry. They're crying out for a king. Those ideas like that. Still, for right now, I may work with that. Oops. All right, so we could just insert this one here. And then 10 through 27. My outline looks way different now. I'm making mistakes. Okay, so let's combine some stuff here. I noticed that Saul's influence began to wane as David gains influence. That means 11 through 24 could probably be used as one whole unit. So let's think about that. So let's make this unit right here 11 through 24. Major unit division 11:1 through 24 chapter. I'll fix it in a minute. All right, so this will shift this here, shifting this here, 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 here. And then 11 through 13 is no longer a major division. It would go here. This would shift to here. This would shift to here, here, and here. 15 through 24, that would go to here. These would go under here. And then 25 through 31 would be the next major division. So that's nice that we now have one division. Let me look at that. The book of Samuel begins with the means of bringing about the fall of Eli's influence with the rise of Samuel's influence. Later, Samuel's influence begins to wane as Saul's influence rises. Okay. So Samuel rose, he's waning, Saul's rising, Saul wanes, David gains influence. So if you were to map it like this is what it would look like. Okay, that's the first level. Then this would be the second level. This would be the third level. And then this would be, I gotta fix this. So you're seeing you got a downward, you got a shift going on here. If I were to make this like an observation sheet, the shift that you're seeing is, all right, you got the fall of Eli with the rise of Samuel. Okay. Then you have the waning of Samuel and then the rise of Saul's influence. And then you have his influence waning as you have, let's see, what other color? As David gains influence. Then you have the mentor is gone now, Samuel. Oh, wrong color. Go back to red. But David continues as Saul influence comes to an end. So to put it another way, it goes from Eli to Samuel. Samuel to Saul. Saul to David. That's what I'm essentially seeing going on here. All right. So, major division 1 through 7. Second division level is 8 through 10. No, that's not what I did. What am I thinking? Is it? No, yeah, that's right. All right, 8 through 10. Then the next major division will go here, 11 through 24. So that is this section here. All right. Fall. So I should have 4 divisions. So if we're making a chart out of this, then I would have 4 main divisions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 main divisions. Okay. So this would be 1 through 7, 17. Let me use my view, split screen. Second major division would be 8-1 through 10-27. Third major division is 11-1 through 24. Have to find out what verse 24 ends with. 22. Okay. And then fourth, 25, 1 to 31, 13. So then the subdivisions, so we'll go ahead and split this again. We'll split this into 2. So this would be chapters 1 through 4. And this is 5 through 7. Okay. And then we'll see if we could split it on 8. 1 through 10. So it would be separated by chapter 8. And looks like 9 and 10 over here. Okay. And then let's see if there's a split with 11 to 24, which sure there is. There's 1, 2, there's 2 splits there. So this would be chapter 11 through 13, and this would be chapter 13 through, just want to make sure, 24. Looking good. And then we get to 25. Well, you got chapter divisions here, but I'm going to rework this so that I have another split here. I think I can reduce some of these. So you got, after Samuel's death, David was kept from killing Nabal by Abigail, whom he married, even though he lost Saul's daughter alive. Okay. David again spares Saul instead of taking the kingdom before that time, and once again, the king. Okay, David's on the run. All right. David. All right. So this looks like this is all one idea here. 29 to 30. David suffered sackbut. All right. Okay. So yeah, I would say this is we would do 1 Samuel 29 through 29 through 30. All right. So David suffered setbacks, but Saul's influence dies out with him. Suffered setbacks, but Saul's influence dies out with him. You don't have the Philistine language there, so I'll just try to preserve it by putting this under here. So I don't know how much that helped or not, but if I can lump 25 to 28 together, no, I don't think it's much of a difference. So I'm going to keep this as one unit. Let's go back up to the top. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's write this out. The fall of Eli with the rise of Samuel. Eli's influence with the rise of Samuel. Okay. And then this one. The waning of influence of Samuel, with the rise of Saul. I'm going to say with, I'm going to say and the rise of Saul. And then this one would be the waning of Saul's influence with the rise of David. This new free grace stuff is crazy. Hey, Lindsay. I don't know which new free grace stuff you're talking about. Are you Christian, Lindsay? Let's see. All right, great. Okay, what free grace you talking about, by the way? Oh yeah, the corn, the children of the corn. Yeah, they're not free grace. Well, let me be clear. How do I say this? I don't consider that free grace, all right? There's other room for other people that maybe consider free grace, but I don't consider that free grace. I call that hybrid grace. Okay. Samuel's death and the and David's influence as Saul's comes to an end. Okay. So now we'll try to summarize what 1 through 4 is saying here. Books Hannah. All right. The fall of Eli with the rise. All right. So this is the fall of Eli. Let's just call it that. And we'll change this here. And then let's look at this one. The Philistines seeming victory. Seeming victories before Israel repents. Something like that. Okay. Let's go find chapter 8. Chapter 8, I don't have one. Oh, yeah, I do have one. All right. So Israel rejected God's rule by demanding the king, warned them. Israel demands a king, and Samuel warns. Okay. Let's see. But they not for the warnings. All right. So Saul comes on the scene, and let's just call it that, the hopeful scene. I don't want to say hopeful because even though the audience, the characters thought it was hopeful, the book don't think it's hopeful. So I don't want to say that. Okay, so let's go to 11. While things started well with Saul, covenant. All right. Israel's history of covenant violation and idolatry. Okay. So Saul is an idolatry. We got to see where Saul messes up. We got to chart that. 13 through 24. Okay, 15 through 24 is all right. So let me see if I got this right. 11 through 13, 15 through 24. Duh. Well, what about 14? You can't just separate it. All right. So this is going to be 14. This is going to be 15. All right. Saul's disobedience disqualifies him as king, and David moves into as David is on the scene. All right. Wow. Saul loses it. Let's just keep it like that. Yeah. All right. And then 25. So this is looks like this is just one unit, so I'm just going to erase this division. Okay. And remove split. Let's put some color to it. Wrong color. And these are the subdivisions, so we'll put it a different color. That's bright. That looks ugly. But yeah, let's just keep it without color. Let's put a title on it. Merge cells. Overview of major and minor divisions. In 1 Samuel. All right. So I need to make this more uniform. Put all the verses after. Okay, we're good. So I haven't written a purpose statement for the book. I'll bring up some of my New Testament stuff that I did for another class, different professor, so you can see what I've done here, how I've done it in other videos, but I'll bring up something for that. Okay, order into outline, create a chart. So there's my steps. All right, so let me go to another one. I got to go into my Google Drive. If I just type in overview, let's go with the Acts overview. Oh, I didn't make a chart for that one. I want one that has a chart. Probably didn't have time. Book overview of James. Let's hit that one. Okay. Yeah. All right. So here's a one over James. This one is graded. All right. I think it's graded. I didn't like how this one came out because everything's stretched, but you can see write out preliminary titles for major division book, and if any smaller say deserve, give the titles also. That's what he had said there. Write out a main preliminary idea of the whole book. So my first preliminary idea was this one here, which I reduced down to this one, and then I finally reduced it down to this one. And I went ahead and preserved them. Write out what you observe to be the primary purpose of the book, James' book, and then about the original audience of James. And then here's the actual outline of the book of James. Okay. And then I got other observations that I included in James and other material and stuff like that. So yeah, I got tons of videos where I've done things like that. Hey, Bear's looking at us now. I just got to do a little tweaking, like cleaning everything up. But essentially, you see the process. Now, let me show y'all something. May take me a second to find this. I already got a file that has these in here. But let's start with the Net Bible. It's available online, but I want to find it here so that I know where to look. We'll go with the second edition. I have the Net Bible. Do I still have it? You know what? No. The thing didn't survive. I used to have a copy of the Net Bible, but it fell apart totally. So this word pericope is being used here. And do they use it in here? Nope. Which is not good. They used to use the word pericope. Let me look at the first version. That's the second edition. Notes. Okay, let me see. Okay, at least the word pericope shows up. That's great. But they're supposed to have a list of the pericopes. Yeah, it's not in here. Let me try the other one. NET first edition note list. Let's try this one. Pericope. Yeah, I don't know where they put it. So I could do some hunting around in Logos. Let's try the AI version here. List of pericopes. Not good. Let's do the AI Logos, study assistant as they call it. All right. Where can I find a list of all of the pericopes of the Bible? Let's see how well AI does. The search result doesn't directly address where to find it. However, I can point you towards several resources that organize pericopes in useful ways. The Composite Gospel divides the Gospel into 362 units. For the Old Testament, Masoretic. Yeah, we could use a Masoretic text. Beyond that, yeah, that was disappointing. All right, so we'll just go online. List of all the pericopes in the Bible. Okay, well, Wikipedia. Let's see if they actually have something. No. Not yet, they don't. Okay, but that ain't a full list. Composite Gospel Pericope Index. Well, that's for the Gospels. List of New Testament pericopes. Let me Net Bible. Let's see if they can find anything. Oh, this is so frustrating. Verse versus pericope. This is telling you about pericopes, what they are. Does Logos have anything with pericopes besides drop downs? Compare pericopes tool. It's not called compare pericopes tool. Passage analysis compare pericope. Yeah, this is what they're talking about here. Let's see if there's anything in here that is more recently come out. Yeah, there's different pericope sets that it's mentioning here. That's pretty cool. I found 25 Bibles in my pericope set list. Okay. Please find attached pericope sets in Logos. All right, I'll look at that in a minute. All right, let's see. All right, let's just see what this thing looks like. Pericope set, pericope sets in Logos, library specific. Okay. So he's got a list of these. So let's just try to turn these on and let's see what goes on here. Pericope sets. It's not under there. Not there. Okay, new plan. How did I get them? I don't even remember. Pericope headings. Passage analysis tool. Yeah, but I want to show people how to do this who don't have Logos. All right, so let's just try an English word. Paragraphs of the Bible list. Well, that's just sad. Okay, so let's try this. 1 Samuel pericope list. Okay, that does better. It gives you specifics, but it doesn't show you how to make them. Well, that's discouraging. I'll show you mine, but I got to try to find y'all one that y'all could use. Like I said, in the NET Bible, the written version, there's a list of pericopes at the end. So let me just share my screen here. So you can see right here, these are pericopes. You don't worry about the names. So I can just go to Samuel. Okay. 1 Samuel 1, right? And I could take these in and I could paste these in there and just erase the titles of them, and that preserves the passage ranges. Outside of using the Hebrew divisions or some of the translation division, that's a good option. Another thing you can do, and I do this with is go to freebiblecommentary.org and go to Old Testament, because that's where we're at. Like, we're in Samuel, so go to 1 Samuel chapter 1, and then it'll give you the divisions of the NASB. Okay, now we have a friend called ChatGPT. So this is a fresh thing. I'm going to say this. Can you identify pericopes in a particular book? I used to have a net Bible that included a list of all the pericopes, but now I don't see it in the Logos version. All right. Yes, and you remember something real, not misremembering it. Short answer: the Net Bible itself never contained a built-in list of pericopes. Well, then why did you say you're remembering something real? What you likely had was a Logos data set. You don't know what you're talking about, dude. What you probably had before and why it's gone. Cleanest way, pericopes in Logos. Tools. Open Logos, go to Tools, left panel, choose pericopes. Okay, Tools, filter by book. All right, so there's different ones that you could do. All right, so watch this. Can you generate pericopes for me from 1 Samuel? Yes, below is a clean research guide pericope outline of 1 Samuel, suitable for teaching discourse. I don't want words. Remove the words. I just want the scriptural range. Come on, man. This thing is just spitting out words. All right. Pericope ranges. So then you got your list of your pericopes, okay? Now I'm going to try to take it a deeper level. Can you divide 1 Samuel by BHS Hebrew divisions? Let's see how well it does here. Yes, below are the Masoretic BHS Hebrew divisions of Samuel based on, okay, it's given the accent marks, the Petukot and the Setumot as presented in BHS. And I'll show you what these are. So the P, open section, and the S, the Samic, is a closed section, a minor break. So according to this, these are the Hebrew divisions. Okay, now watch this though. Create a chart comparing the pericope divisions to the BHS divisions. So you notice they're pretty much the same. Okay. And then let's I don't think it will give me access to the NASB divisions because recently I'll try, but I think it's going to say something about it. Can you do the same for NASB 95 divisions? Let's see if it can. You got to check it because it can lie. All right. It's making it sound like they're the exact same thing. I'll show you the old-fashioned way I used to do it before I had the pericope list. When I was just studying English Bible, is I would go to my translation, 1 Samuel 1, and then I would just get the whole translation. I don't need to get it all. I'm just going to show y'all for demonstrating purposes. And so I'm going to pick copy so that it preserves the original divisions and all those verses, right? Yeah, that didn't do very well. Okay, let me think about that. There's another NASB. It's in paragraph divisions. But what you'll notice, whenever you take this out of large level, you should be able to see this. In the written versions, the numbers are bold whenever it's a paragraph division. It doesn't look like I could see them hardly at all, though, right here. I'll show y'all at the beginning. Bold. See, paragraphs are designated by boldface verse numbers or letters, right? And so you're like, okay, well, where's that at? It's very hard to see in Logos. So that's very hard to see. Maybe if I bring it down to regular font level, I can't pick it up. My eyes can't pick it up. But in a written version, of the NASB, I actually have one. I'll pull one off my shelf. 1 second. In the written version, it's easy to see. Come on, where are you? So this is one of my old Bibles. I wore it out. I mean, the pages are falling out. See? But if you I'll go to the New Testament because it's easier to see. No, my eyesight's really bad. These glasses don't fix my reading. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to show this to y'all. I think what I'll do is I'll screenshot it and then bring it up on my screen. Hey, Siri. 1 second. Never mind. Hold on, Bear. All right, I sent it to Discord, so let me just open that. Oh, come on. You're going to tell me Discord is not syncing? Oh, there it goes. All right, so let me open this. I didn't know you could open it with a snipping tool. That's kind of cool. Well, let's see if it opens actually. Well, that's taking forever. Don't open your image with a snipping tool. Note to self, open with photos. Let's do that. All right. So it's very hard to see, even in here, but you could tell the difference. Like if you look right here, this 24 is way more bolder than this 25. And so that's how the NASB 95 do paragraph divisions. A lot of Bibles do that paragraph division, but it doesn't show up in Logos. And so what Logos has instead is they have, you go to the passage guide, and let's go to 1 Samuel. All right. It should say pericope something here. It's been a while since I've used this. Under outlines. No, those are outlines. Where is the pericope thing? Text comparison. Let me check there. No. Career. Where do they put the thing? Hold on, guys. I'm gonna find this thing. Okay. Passage analysis. Get started. Compare pericopes. Click Tools, Passage Analysis. Passage Analysis. Passage Analysis. There it is. Okay, so what you're seeing here is you have the ESV, Eusebian canons, LEB, NASB, and the Parashat, which is the readings of the Hebrew. You can add the NET. Oh, there it is. So you can look here and you can see, all right, the NET is saying Samuel 1:1 to 1:20 is one pericope. And I should be able to blow this up so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, so you're able to scroll through, and I'm going the wrong way. 1 Samuel 1, 1:4, 1:7. But let's just say I don't want all those others. Let's just say I want the NASB. We'll turn off all of these. And so now we're looking at the NASB, the Net 1, and the Net 2. So they're viewing 1:1 to 1:18 is one unit. 1:19 to verse 28 as another unit in the NSB. And so you're able, I can bring this out. It's not got to be this high level. Well, maybe I do need to bring it in. I don't know. So you got this tool and it's beneficial. Don't get me wrong, but it's not fast enough for me. Okay, so there needs to be an alternative, and I think that alternative is ChatGPT. But I'll show y'all how to do it in the Hebrew if you have, well, if you already know about Hebrew, you know how it's done. But all right, so BHS, we'll go with this one. And I'm rusty on my Hebrew. We'll go to Genesis. Okay. So, and I can't even tell you from memory like which division does what. But you'll notice this little bitty thing right here. Okay. I'll zoom out so you can see it. You have the pay and the summix at the end like this. And they indicate divisions. Okay, here's another one. That's letting you know that the Masoretics divided things in that way. There's other things that you can go into, the accents that are in there that are used for divisions and issues like that. But okay, I'm looking for the Samic so you can see the Samic. Another pay. So I mean, if I was doing some Hebrew work, honestly, I would either paste it into a document and find those individual accents. I don't know why I can't find the S right now. Oh, here's one. This one and this one here. So this is about these are indicators of units of thought that the Masoretics viewed. Okay, and there's debate around some of that stuff. But if you have ChatGPT, just do this. Watch, guys. All right. List the pericope ranges, pericopes for First Samuel again. All right, so I have those pericopes, and then the next thing I'll do is I can write descriptive summaries. So I'll show you how ChatGPT does it. Write descriptive, even though I did it, in seminary, you got to do it you got to do it yourself. You got to do it the hard way, right? But for those that are not in seminary, I'm just showing y'all some tips that you could do. Or even if you are in seminary, you could do these things, just don't do them when you write your papers. Write descriptive summaries for each pericope. I mean, because I probably have spent at least 20 hours on what I've done with First Samuel already. From yesterday, the day before yesterday and the day. So look, it went through and it wrote a sentence pericope. Okay, so you could take it like that, like, all right, look, I'm going to go with ChatGPT summaries of these. All right, and you can do this manually or you could do this automatically. You can say lump pericopes together that have a higher level of, let's just use the word cohesion. All right, so now it's going up higher. Well, it's doing analysis right now. I didn't want it to do that, but okay. So let's just assume that this is giving me correct readouts right now, right? Write descriptive summaries for those levels that you place the pericope summaries under. If this doesn't make sense to it, I'll give it my instructions, but I think it'll understand. So First Samuel's origin 1:1 to 2:10. Okay, yeah, it only gave those. It's not doing it right. I mean, it is given the big units, but I wanted it to create an outline from all of that. All right, so notice, but we can still work with this. But that leaves you with 16 units, okay? Look for higher levels of cohesion to lump these descriptive summaries under. All right. So now look what it did. Now it's made the distinction of 1:1, 7 to 17. It's dividing up chapter 1 through 4, and then it's doing that. So that's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 divisions. That's pretty good. Go up one more level of cohesion. Here's one more cent in cohesion, the highest narrative for First Samuel. Oh, all right. So it's saying 1 through 12 is 1 unit. 13 through 31 is another unit. And okay, so it looks like the divisions. Now what I'll say, now rearrange things to create an outline for every level of cohesion. And I gotta tell it, preserve also the pericope summaries. All right. So now it's going to create an outline out of all that. So 1 1 to 12 5, next section, 1 1 to 7 17. Once you see, you know what it's doing. If you want, you could do this. You could say, you could tell it to look, it even did a summary of the sentence. You could say, now erase the words and leave the units, unit ranges. Hopefully it understands what I mean by that. So essentially what you're doing now is, let's just say you just want to, you don't have time to do everything from the ground up, but you want to get a good outline so that you can fill in your own descriptive summaries in the level of cohesion, sort of like what I did, except I did mine from scratch. And so this is what you have. You got all the levels preserved, but it's not an outline format. Preserve the outline levels you established. Okay. So yeah, it's done all of that. And then you could put that into a document. And just start filling it in. Okay, let me go back. So let me open up another document. New. I don't need this. All right, so yeah, it preserved everything. And you could just go through and you could start all right, so there's the book level, ultimate cohesion. Then you got the super movements. I want it all in order of an outline, and it's not putting it all in the outline order. Pericopes are right here. You could say this, now put it together like an exegetical outline without words. Let's see if that works. Okay. Yeah, this one looks like it did what I wanted it to do. my come on. All right, let me go back to here, paste this in document 1, and then you have everything you need, and you can just remember you start at the low level. So like I do is I would color code these. Let's make the lowest level red. Let's say those are apples, okay? More apples. More apples. That's an apple. Apple. These are apples. The other ones that have the bullet point are the apples, if you will. It still came out a little distorted, but not too bad. I mean, I could work with that. More apples. Okay. More apples. So I'm not going to color all the apples, but then you could say, all right, I got my apples. Now I want to have my green leaf. So I got my green leaf here at that level. Green leaves. And you go through and you get all your green leaves. Then after you get all your green leaves, and you're like, okay, now let me get to my limb level. So we might have like a brown color. I don't know if we got one here. High contrast colors. What we get? Let's see. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a brown color. You might make one, but we'll just pick a different color. Pretend like this is a blue tree. Use your imagination. So you got your blue tree limbs. Okay. I think that's a blue tree limb. But see, this is 1. This is A. This is 1. These are the subpoints. This is 2. Okay, so 7 is 3, 4. All right, so here's your next tree limb, I think. Yeah, so this would be your next tree limb. Okay, now you got another major division. So if those are the tree limb, I guess this is the trunk. All right, let's make it pink. Roman numeral 2. Anyway, you get the idea. That way, when you're making your descriptive summary of this paragraph right here, all you got to do is you just go in. I'm going to use Logos since I have Logos open. Is you go into your passage. Let's just pretend I'm in Genesis, even though that's not where we're at. And you just paste it in here. And then you summarize. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. I put it in the wrong document. Not good. All right, so then you just summarize. You put the verse in there like that, and you put comments on it. And that will help you develop your descriptive summary for that. And then you work your way up. Fruits, leaves, limbs, tree. And that's essentially what I'm doing. But all right, well, I'm just going to do a little bit of refinement, spelling, all that type of stuff. Fix it up, and then put it in a safe place for whenever I need to turn it in. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. I'll get faster as I go. I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this in a while because I've been focusing on other things. But yeah, check out more content, old stuff, new stuff. It's all good. God bless.